Hey everybody, welcome to another absolutely glorious episode of Jeff Has Cool Friends. My name is Jeff May, and you'll never believe it. I have cool friends. That's the boy, would that be a lie if I had the show called this and that wasn't the case. I have such an amazing cool friend. This is actually one of the most requested episodes that I have recorded at this point in time. I've gotten a lot of people asking me to do this episode, and so here we go. I have comedian, actor, podcaster, model, author Kym Kral. Kym Kral, how you doing?
Hi. This is the most requested episode.
The Unpops people, when they hear us on episodes together, which isn't often, but when it happens, people are like, more of that. So we did an episode of Unpops together about a month ago.
I don't know. Time's no longer real.
Time's a flat circle. On the Unpops network, we did a show, and people were like, "Can you just do this? Can you do this? Can you have her on?" And then you were like, "Hey, I wrote a book," and I was like, "Well, that's funny because people want your ass on my show anyway. So let's talk about your book."
Yay!
But we're gonna have it's everything worked out. So you and I go back. We met at your open mic in around 2013.
2013. I know that because I just had a boyfriend at the time and we broke up the same year, and that year was like the transformative year.
That was your big year, was 2013?
Well, I really started stand-up comedy again. Like I quit and then I went back and then I started that mic and then I had like this boyfriend and then he shattered my heart. So I like gauge my life from like, I know I can do math from 2013. You know, if that makes any sense.
You do math from 2013 specifically. Like that's your timeline.
Yeah.
Is like that's your birth of Christ. Is like everything that happened before 2013 and then everything that happened after 2013.
Well, it's like 2013. This is going to get grim. 2013 to 2015 is a period of time. And then my dad died. So everything after 2015, you know what I mean? So there was like another.
Okay. So 2013 is your Christ year. And then 2015 is your 9/11.
Did they happen? Yeah, I guess so.
Because Christ and 9/11, they were separated by 2 years, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I remember that.
I don't know. I mean, some people don't believe either are real, but both are on opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah. That's fair. I guess that's a pretty accurate. That's a good way to start a podcast, honestly. It's like, let's talk about Christianity and 9/11. And they're like, "Wait, is this like a conspiracy podcast?" Be like, "No, this is just an interview." Be like, Jesus.
This is just how it comes out. This is how. Well, I was 33 in 1992. Why would I say that? That's not
because
real
you're
at all.
Old as yeah.
Because I'm 97. That's also not math.
That's not how. Yeah. Well, because the math was before 2013. That's why you f***ed up.
Yeah, I don't know anything before 2013.
Yeah.
I graduated in 2000, so that's also another significant. But so I was 33 though in 2015, which is the Jesus year. If you turn 33, that's when Jesus was killed. Buddha
killed Jesus when he was 33. I remember that.
Is that
Siddhartha Gautama. He came back and killed Christ. It was like a whole thing.
Is that Buddha's name?
Yeah.
What's his name? How do you know that?
Siddhartha Gautama. Why do I know that? Kym, don't ask me why I know. I just know it. Like I just absorb worthless information that is only usable on podcasts, and that's why I do this job.
Yeah, you're in the right spot.
To be fair, I taught about Buddhism and I taught religion, so I kind of know.
You did?
Yeah, that was part of my career.
I have no idea what you taught. I always figured history felt like the thing you taught.
I taught world history, but within the scope of my framework, I also taught essentially the beliefs and general facts of the 5 major religions. So Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. So I have a general working knowledge of all of those religions. It is what it is. It was always really funny when, because we would start, like the first religion that we would learn about was Islam, because that was like the way it worked through the Middle East. And then we always had these racist parents coming like, "Why is my kid going to listen to Islam speak?" Because, we're Massachusetts. That's how they talk. And they're like, "Why don't nobody learns about Christianity?" I'm like, "Dude, that's literally November. We do Christianity. It's right here in the framework. Look, you didn't read the syllabus, you dip."
You just got mad because you don't like brown people.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to understand the people you hate. No, I get it.
Yeah, that sounds That tracks, actually. You as a person, that's exactly what I would gather that you would do.
Yeah, that was
not you, but I'm talking to the fake parent.
We're still doing the bit. I'm with you on that 100%. Yeah. So now you ran a very successful 6-hour open mic in North Hollywood in the Valley, called Mouthy Pants. It was a great mic. It became sort of like my Tuesday home where I saw people, and we have established that we have a very interesting friendship, you and I.
Yeah,
we've been very close. We've been distant. We've had waves of friends. I mean, it's always been friends.
I was like, did we have a falling out that I'm unaware of?
No, we didn't. But there have been times where we just haven't been connected.
That's true.
You know, we've been friendly without like hanging out all the time. There were other times we hung out. I got into trouble for going to a movie with you one time.
That was funny. Two things.
Ex.
One, I want to tell the movie, but one thing I'd like to say that happened today, which is really funny because we're doing this now. I like time hop on Facebook. I'm one of the few people. Some people don't like it because they're like, it reminds me of the boyfriend. I don't have regrets about stuff, even if it was painful. So I like time hop. Today, in 2013, I got Jeff May to go to Big Wang's wearing Big Wang's gear.
Mm-hmm. You sure did.
To watch a Denver Bronco game.
Yes. I wore, well, not so much Broncos gear. I wore an orange T-shirt and a Red Sox hat.
But you wore orange for me, and you wore blue pants because they were jeans, and you were like, "Yeah, I'm wearing Broncos colors."
Sure.
And I was like, "This is a good day." And then
I did do that. Because you're attractive, and I wanted you to like me, so I did that. That's easy enough thing to answer why. People are like, why would you do that? And it's like, well, I'm not terribly invested in the NFL anyway. And so I was just like,
I'm a hot girl.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And then the movie. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say the movie, the funny thing about that you got in trouble over that. I had a boyfriend too at the time, and that guy didn't give a I was like, hey, I'm going to a movie with my buddy Jeff. And he's like, all right, baby, call me later. And you were like, you told your boyfriend about this? And I was like,
I don't remember saying that, but I wasn't with somebody at the time, but it was platonic. We had established it was platonic. I had broken up with somebody, but we were still like in connection. And she thought that I was like starting to date again. And I was like, no, that is Kym. That's not what this is.
How dare you? I'm very dateable.
No, it's interesting. And we can talk about this because I think this is very interesting, is that everybody like in the LA comedy scene thought that we were like together at one point. They just, because we were friends and we were similar height. I don't know.
That's isn't that funny that we're similar height and we're friends? We're both attractive. And you're attractive too, my friend.
Oh, stop it. But more. Go on. No, but it was just like one of those situations where like I think we have crested past that sort of like a romantic tension where I was just like, oh, this is Kym. She's just my friend. And we exist in these worlds. We can still be gorgeous.
Yeah.
And go to a movie together, and it doesn't have to be romantic. But it became a fight at one point in time because I was like, yeah, I saw I, Tonya with Kym, and that didn't work out well.
Oh man, that broad.
It's okay. It's fine. Everybody is to their own, and they have their own stuff they're working through, and it's fine.
It's a very nice diplomatic way. I know my boyfriend at the time didn't care because he was a coke addict, and I didn't know that he had a massive drug problem. And so he was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm just doing blow. So whatever you want to do. Yeah. I'll be home.
Well, I mean, I don't want to jump right to the book because I feel like that's going to take a lot about, but we might as well, because we're talking exes. So you've recently published a book called Confessions of a Recovering Party Girl. And I have a copy. I am almost finished with the book.
Oh, yay.
I got the copy like 24 hours ago. And I have also been juggling a lot of stuff, but I have been reading it. I'm going to say something, and you can't get offended at this. But
I don't like that. You can't do that. You can't be like, promise not to be mad.
No,
and
that's
you're like,
fair.
no.
No, but it's not. You're going to like this. You know, sometimes when you have friends that make art and it sucks and you have to be like, oh,
I love the shade of green.
Looks like you have to like, you don't want to lie, but at the same time, you don't want to hurt their feelings. So you have to find creative ways to be like, oh, it looks like you're having fun. This is a very good book. it reads like butter. It's very smooth to read. It's conversational in the way that it reads in a way like you're writing a letter to your diary.
Yeah.
It is, if I can summarize it, and then you can tell me how accurate I am.
Okay.
It seems like it's you giving me chapters that are sort of specifically ordered in a way to explain the people that you have loved that have led you to learn how to love yourself.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
That's how I am piecing together this book as I am cresting to the finish line. Tell me, I want to know about the book. So just give me a little bit of information about why'd you write a book?
Why did I write? Okay, well, let's see here. I've always wanted to write a book. And if you know my comedies, and I know everybody wants to write a book, which, everyone's like, I'm going to write a book.
No, seems like work. No, thanks.
Oh yeah. It was it's so hard. I cried every day. Every day I cried. And some of these chapters almost didn't make it in because like one chapter didn't even make it to the editor. It's so vulnerable and was hard for me to write. And, but so the lockdowns happened and it was like, okay, well, I have a couple of options. I was kind of teetering on like, mentally, I'm not going to be okay in this lockdown. I live alone. I had like, I was working through and I was like, I'm not going to be okay, but why don't I write the book I've always wanted?
Well, I mean, it's funny because one of the big things that you talk about when you open the book is you're like, I'm codependent. This is a thing that I work through. So I do understand that you would absolutely have a difficult time in lockdown with being a person who relies on codependency.
It's so funny. And I'm I've learned in the last year and a half and all the work I've done is that I'm a codependent person who also will burn it down and walk away. Like I'm totally cool being on my own, but if I'm avoidant and codependent. I'm like the fun cocktail of that. Right.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. It's fun to be inside my head. And so at first I'd always wanted to write these stories about because I've had kind of a colorful dating life, wild dating stories, some funny, some sad, some super fucked up, some embarrassing. And then at first I was going to do like a Zagat guide kind of thing, like be like, okay, here's a crazy date. And then I got to go to these awesome places and then rate the dude and the date. And then and that was fun. And I don't think there was,
I'm going to do that. I'm going to steal that from you. That's my new book.
You have a lot of crazy dates?
No, I don't. I'm bad at dating.
I mean, no, you're not.
I'm terrible at it. No, I'm not. Just because I'm a great person doesn't mean I'm good at dating.
Oh, I'm a nightmare. I'm a nightmare at dating. Actually, I don't know. I haven't dated in a long time.
Well,
okay,
hold on though. We can take tangents here. We're not going to lose the idea of your book, so that's fine.
That's true.
Do you when it comes to dating, do you plan or do you sort of expect a plan to be sort of delivered to you?
I mean, if you ask me out, and it's so annoying. If you ask me out and then you're like, there's two, like if you're like, what would you like to do? Or what kind of things do you like to do? That's one thing. But do you want to go out? What do you want to do? It's like, I don't know. You asked me to go out with you. You pick it. I have so much going on. I can't.
I always had a plan and it was always just every first date for me was always to show you exactly who I am so that there's no confusion later. So like,
what did that look like?
Well, it was, I'll tell you what, it is the romantic version of the friendship that you and I have, for example, where it would be like, okay, here it is. I'm expressing interest. Would you like to come to this cool place and play pinball with me? I'm wearing a t-shirt, and jeans, and a hat because that's what I look like most of the time. If you don't like this, then I'm not going to waste your time by wearing a suit and lying to you and showing you like a version of you that isn't me. I never understood that in dating when people would like pretend on a first date. And he's like, oh, here, let's suit and let's go to this nice fancy restaurant. And it's like, we're never going here again. And I'm never dressing like this again. So that to me, I always have presented myself as my truest, because like I'm too old to be like, hey, you want to do this dance for a while? I'm always like,
no, I can't do it.
I'm always just like, here I am. Do you hate this? That's fine. If I'm not for you, and that's cool, but we don't have to do 3 of these things anymore.
Yeah, we don't have to like get emotionally, but a lot of dudes don't feel that way. A lot of dudes, I don't know. I downloaded all the apps recently, and then 5 days later, I undownloaded all the apps because it's just,
You know,
have to weed through so much and you have to have time in order to do it. And I just don't have the time to be like, are you a trash can? Are you crazy? Are you like one guy? The first thing he asked me was, be honest. What is it that you're looking for? And I'm like, ew, gross. What do you like? That's either you're asking if I'm 39 and I'm like begging for a baby, or if you just can me and leave me. You know what I mean? Like there's no
middle ground.
Yeah, or you're like, I want a relationship. Do you want a relationship? I don't care who you are. I just want a girlfriend. So it's like
that's how he opened the message.
Oh yeah, another guy wrote something very cute. I can't remember what it was because I deleted it, but it was like a cute, funny message. And I keep saying I'm busy, but you know what? And the lives we have, and especially now, everything's kind of picking back up, and you got to kind of jump.
There's so many shows on
balance.
Hulu right now that I'm trying to watch. I don't have time to be on my phone.
Oh, really? I started watching The Walking Dead for the 4th time.
You're watching Walking Dead for the 4th time?
I love that show.
Good.
It's like my safety blanket. Okay, so then he writes something cutesy, and it's funny and it's charming, but I'm busy. So I'm in the middle of something. So I looked at it, I laughed, and I was like, oh, I'll write that guy back in a few hours when I have a moment, right? A few hours, I'm talking 2 tops. I pick up my phone to write him back, and he has sent me a paragraph like 25 sentences long about how awesome he is, that his mom loves him. Please give him a chance. He's a really good dude. Please don't ghost him already. And I was like, what the? And then the next guy that wrote me said something about my pigtails and how he couldn't wait to pull on them while we had sex. And I was just like,
it's an apocalyptic wasteland on those apps, huh?
Oh God. And then there was one guy that like, okay, I may have to read you because this is wild. Is this boring? I don't know if this is boring or not. Okay.
Kym, it's about you. It can't be boring.
Oh, thank you.
No,
I don't think anybody's ever
I'll tell you when you're being boring.
This is boring. I don't think anyone has ever called me boring in my life.
Yet.
No, I don't think it'll happen. I think that'll be one thing I'll skeeve.
All right. Well, you got about an hour left. You better bring your
hour.
You better bring your A game, bro.
How am I going to talk for a whole hour?
That's literally what you do.
Yeah, I know. I'm fine. I talk alone I'm not alone. I have cats, but
that's alone. No, trust me. You are a sad alone person. Don't worry about that.
No, it's so mean. Okay, so I was deleting the apps, right? But there was a guy that I had like talked to a couple of times, and he was really nice. He seemed attractive. He seemed like he had his together. So I was like, hey, man, I'm going to delete the apps. I don't really, this is just not really for me. And I don't have a lot of time right now. So I just don't have the time I thought I did. But you and I have had a nice talk. And so I thought maybe we could just like exchange Instagrams, and maybe in a couple of weeks when things slow down for me, we could connect again. And I was like, and if I'm misreading this, totally cool. Tell me to off. I just thought it was rude to just delete it in the middle, whatever. Right.
Oh, so you're being a person.
Yeah. But that's unheard of in these apps. Right. So he texts back and goes, that's really nice. I don't have social media. Here's my phone number. I'd love to call you. So.
Oh, that sounds great.
Oh yeah. Just wait for it.
No, I know, but I'm on the ride right now. And so far this sounds great. He's not on social media. That sounds great. Or he's awesome. A sex pest. It's one of those two. Yeah. He might legally not be allowed to be on social media. There are several.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
I don't know. Most of the information I know about like technology comes from the movie Hackers. So it's a little outdated.
With Angelina Jolie?
Yeah, remember the kid? Holmes? He wasn't allowed to own a computer until he turned 18 or whatever.
I don't think I saw the movie.
You see Hackers? We'll see Hackers.
Okay, you can come over and see Henry.
Oh, I like your cat.
Yeah, he's a good cat, and he just had a really bad. He had some health stuff, and it looks like he's coming on the other side of it.
Yeah. Anyway, so this guy gives you the number.
Okay, he gives me the number, and then and as I said, my cat was having a lot of medical issues. So like 2 weeks later, I text him. I'm like, hey, it's Kym from Tinder. I know it's been a while. So sorry. And he's like, oh my God, hi. I kind of gave up on you, but I'm so glad that you reached out to me. And I was like, honestly, I'm reaching out to you to just tell you that like, I was like a little bit, I got a lot going on. I was like, I have a sick cat and he's about to go into like a big procedure. I'm just have a lot going on. And then he asked about my cat. And I was like, hey, I really appreciate that you didn't make the obvious crazy cat lady jokes. Like as a cat lady, I'm not offended. As a comedian, I'm offended.
Yeah,
Like, when
yeah.
people-
It's you don't want a hacky thing. It can be accurate, but as long as you're not hacky, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I have cats, I guess. And so he wrote, this is red flag number 1. And I know it's not a red flag, but he was like, oh, why would I do that? I have 2 cats of my own. And I'm like, oh, it's way too many cats. If this thing worked out, that's 4 cats. That's too many cats.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I'm going to say,
4 cats.
and I said it a couple of times, I think, in my book, your first instinct is always the correct instinct. Listen to your gut. It's always right. So Henry has this thing like a week later. Did you just make a face that that's not true?
I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's fine.
Okay. Well,
I've made a lot. My gut instincts me over a lot. So.
Well, you got to work on yourself. You got to look in and meditate and write and get to know yourself.
Like I'm pretty great and I know a lot about me. It's just that I know that I'm dumb as sometimes.
Oh.
It's fine.
Give me an example right now.
Right. Why would you put me on the spot? Oh, I don't know. Most of the people I dated.
I think most people you dated are kind of lovely.
You literally just said something awful about one of the people that I dated.
I didn't say anything awful about her. I said she's kind of,
Yeah.
And then you was like, she's doing the best she can. I was like, I didn't even say anything about her.
She is.
She's a nice broad. We
don't need to keep going on this one.
Okay. It's more
It's
about
not like
me.
she's listening. She's not a patron. It's fine.
Patron. No. I one time pooped my pants outside of the Improv.
You sure
when
did.
When I was about to meet her, and I text her. It was fine. I texted her and I was like, "Yo, so I just got to go clean up, and then I'm just gonna be like 10 minutes late." And she's like, no drink, no smoke, no swear, and she was like, oh my.
She was a very puritanical woman. It was just the way she was raised, and that's totally fine.
Oh, it's totally fine. But I'm saying, and then I came out and I was like, she's like, I can't believe you're here and you told me that. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go into that building and get on a stage with a microphone and tell everybody that. That's.
Yeah. There are certainly puritanical aspects to that person, and that's perfectly okay.
I love that you're still trying to be PC, but I'm more talking about how I my pants. I just saw an opening to tell you that I my pants outside the Improv.
Oh, you are medium obsessed with talking about that.
No, I'm
saying
obsessed.
I think you're hugely involved, which is medium obsessed. I think they're just they're 2 different adjectives to be used to describe each other. Speaking of, by the way, obsession, did you know that if you are a $10 member at my Patreon at patreon.com/Jeff May, you get the producer credit on my show? That's a thing where I just say your name.
Oh, that's so nice.
Isn't it nice?
I like that. Where do you say their names?
Where?
Yeah.
I say it right here out
Are you
loud.
gonna say one now.
Koi Fam Art and Mentoring. That's one. He was a guest on my show, and then he's just like, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to be a patron of this."
I love that.
Isn't it great? And so is Frankly Amish, and Bart Fartigan, Jennifer Fendelander. You can say anything you want about these names, by the way. These people they've consented to be made fun of or to be complimented with their names. You can say whatever you want. So,
Bart Fartelander is a great name, and he should proudly.
Bart Fartigan.
Fart again? Fart again?
Bart Fartigan. Yeah.
He made that up. That's not a real person.
I'm sure that's correct. I'm sure you're 100% correct. Jennifer Fendelander, that's a real name. The most well-prepared dead guy, I'm sure that's not his Christian name.
Wait, what? That's someone's name? The most well-prepared dead guy?
Correct.
Do you know him?
I know that he gives me money every month.
No.
That's all I need.
I like him.
Like, I didn't kill my wife. That's a name. That's not me telling you I didn't kill my wife. I just divorced my wife. Adrienne, Kelly Stanaway, Silius Ruby, who's actually, that's a friend of ours that's getting married soon. Steven, Dr. DNA, Burrito Mouth, twitch.tv/Firechild460. Now that's actually the best way to do this thing, is to just promote your on my.
Yeah, that is actually a really good idea.
That's like a promoception. Lisa Harden, who's my co-producer on Mint on Card as well.
I love her.
She's the best.
She's so great.
We went to the Star Trek convention in Las Vegas together, and she had a blast. Huey Freeman, Taurus Bulba, Mind Freak 555, Cody Beck Jr., At Gavin_not with 2 T's. Jessica Robertson. That's a real name, I think. Captain Fat Strong.
That's a real name.
Captain Fat Strong? Absolutely. Well, it's a rank. He's in the military. Gregarious Gregorio. The AV Foundry. Domo Arigato Andrew Roboto.
So Gregarious Gregorio is a person.
Yes, and an adjective to describe the person.
Isn't he on a radio show?
Well, Gregorio is the dude's name, and then he is gregarious.
Oh, I thought he was Greg Gregorio, and then gregarious, he just added.
Just adding syllables into his name?
Yeah.
That's fair.
Well, like to make an adjective.
That's fair. Yeah, no,
like
I
how
get
people call me Kymtastic, but mine,
What a great nickname.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm here for you. Blow it all up. Gray Man of the Fireside Chronicles. That's a real name. Ricky Cilantro. At Nerd Numbers. Mackenzie Chill. Willem Dafoe's baffling big bonanza.
Jesus, that's a name.
That's what's a product.
I'd like to go to William Dafoe's bonanza.
To Willem Dafoe's? Would you?
I don't know.
You know who Willem Dafoe is, though, right?
Isn't he the guy from the Boondock Saints?
He wasn't. That's not how I would describe him, but that is absolutely true. He is one of the guys from the Boondock Saints.
Who else? What else has he been in?
Spider-Man.
Oh, he was. Oh yeah, he was
in Platoon. He was in kind of a lot. He was in The Lighthouse.
Didn't see it.
He's kind of a big actor. He was in John Wick.
I haven't seen John Wick, but I feel like I'm going to save it for like a bad day because I think it's my kind of movie. Real violent.
Yes. And has Keanu Reeves. That's everyone's favorite thing.
Oh yeah, he's a dream.
Dan Hackroyd. Murph the Murph. Show me in the rules where it says a dog can't play basketball.
That's someone's screen name or whatever name.
Page. Yeah, somebody. This is sponsored by Air Bud on VHS. That's what this is sponsored by. Russell Richardson, the Sass Stan. Sass was a character that I used to do on a show, on a podcast. And it was just like a teenage Sasquatch. She'd be like, excuse me, my dad owns the dealership. I will hide in the woods if I want. That was it. It was just a teenage Sasquatch.
Why Sasquatch?
Why not?
Is it a family of Sasquatches?
Well, I mean, there is a family. If there's going to be a teenage girl Sasquatch, of course there's going to be other ones. It's not just.
I mean, they could have adopted the Sasquatch, or maybe it's like a Harry and the Henderson sort of situation, but it was like a child they got instead of like a man.
But there's still, I mean, Harry and the Hendersons, he's got like a family. Like Harry had a family, he's not just.
He did?
Well, he didn't like just spontaneously generate out of like an egg, and someone's going to lay the egg anyway. I mean, to be fair, I think he's mostly just a puppet made by Stan Winston, or a suit. But
I think it's a dude in there, right?
There's a dude in there, yeah.
Yeah.
How about the ghost of Dave Thomas?
Oh.
Shebrew Sleeps. Norm from Cheers. Did you ever watch Cheers? You ever watch that series?
I watched season 1 and 2 in the lockdowns.
And then you stopped so you could watch Walking Dead again?
I don't remember.
Probably.
I think I lost it. Sitcoms are hard.
Yeah, you got to get a good one, I guess.
And Cheers is okay.
Historically known as a not so great sitcom. Cheers.
Okay. It was good. It was just like, I get it now. That guy is kind of an but he wants someone good. She's kind of annoying, but she's also someone good. I get it.
Yeah, it's fair. Vortispin. Normal Man, Andrew Maguire. Jolly Buckaroo. Dill Havarti. That's my favorite cheese. What's your favorite? What's your favorite?
Dill?
Dill Havarti? Do you not like dill?
I don't like dill.
Would have never worked.
Really? Because of dill? You think that's the reason it would never have worked?
No, there's a lot of reasons it never would have worked.
How dare you? I'm a delight.
I dare eat Dill Havarti.
Yeah, I just don't like dill. I like brie.
Sure. Oh, is that your favorite cheese?
I would say so. I don't eat dairy that much anymore.
Okay, that's fair. Do you like goat cheese?
I eat almond. I like this almond mozzarella from Trader Joe's that I'm pretty into.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, I buy like 4 or 5 packs of it every time I go shopping, and I put it on everything. It's actually pretty good.
It's going to be wreaking havoc on your gastrointestinal tract, huh?
It's not. It's almond.
No wonder you're all the time.
Okay, that was like how long ago did you date that broad? It was like 5 years ago.
That's fair enough. Exploding runes. An action figure of Clippy. That's another reference to a character that I used to do on a show.
Like the paperclip from Microsoft?
Yeah, I used to do him. Hey, everybody, it's me, Clippy. Want a hand?
Jesus
Seems like you're trying to record a podcast. Can I help you by putting my name on your list? Something like that.
He's kind of Southern for some reason.
He's just really excited, man. People really like that. I used to do a lot of characters, and then I just stopped.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's fine. That's all good. How about baseball legend Don C2E2AM Adventures?
Do you read every single one of these every episode?
They pay me to do that, man.
Okay, keep going. Keep going.
If I got to pay my bills, man, and if that means I have to say the sad Free Willy noise out loud, I'm absolutely going to do that, because also the sad Free Willy noise is objectively funny.
And also the worst noise.
Because they hurt that animal. Yeah, he was tortured. It's very funny.
Free Willy destroyed me as a child. I only saw it once, and my aunt was like holding me as I was literally I had abandonment issues, so I think that what it was more about.
Yeah, well, your parents were whales.
Yeah.
So I get that would be a problem.
Yeah, one was captive too.
Where's Bane? That is a quote from Ben Mendelsohn from The Dark Knight Rises. Children love the Meat Millie. Flesh, your friend. You might like this one. Magnolia Thunder. That seems like something that you'd think was great.
Why would I like that one? Because I like.
No, because you like cursing.
Oh, that too. Yeah. I never saw Magnolia, so.
Well, it's just a street or a flower.
Oh, I thought there was like a movie with Tom Cruise and a bunch of broads.
Yeah, I think that's about the street in LA, or about the flower. I've never seen it either.
Oh.
Is that Paul Thomas Anderson? Who did that? I don't know.
I feel like it was about cancer somehow.
That's sure. Yeah. The cancer of the magnolia flower or street. We don't know. The Bollock. Caitlin Binney. Connor, legally actionable threat Benson. L, loudest on the internet Seldo. The Ian McClendon. Jez Butt is going to be a dad. How great is that? He announced that
your butt is going to be a dad?
Jez, Jez, Butt, Butt, probably his name. But he knocked up a lady. He's going to be a dad.
Oh.
How exciting is that? He's bringing a child into this awful world.
Yeah, I was going to say congratulations right before the end times. Good luck feeding another mouth while you're running through the Deadlands.
He's going to be fine. He's got enough money to support a podcast. So he's probably doing great. Craft beers make my alcoholism look like a neat hobby.
Oh.
Hi, I'm Super Fudge, and welcome to Fudgemania. I loved those books as a kid. I
don't know that book.
Super Fudge? I loved them.
Yeah.
Mef J. That's my evil doppelganger.
Nef J. Is that the one where you're wearing dresses on? Isn't on a Twitter? That's not you.
Oh, somebody made a fake account of me called Nice Jeff May, where every time I would tweet something, they would do the nice version of that tweet.
Do you know who that was?
No.
At all?
No. I still don't know.
That's so weird.
It's okay.
It's cool.
I mean, weird. It's like a nice compliment, and also like somebody that knows me and thinks I'm an
yeah.
So it could be anybody.
Could be me. What if you found out it was me after all this time?
I would not be surprised. I'd be like, that's fair.
Thank you.
Bold and brash. More like belongs in the trash. Russell from Jersey. Pizza, bagels, Taylor ham. You ever been to Jersey?
No.
Yes, you have. Isn't LaGuardia Airport in Jersey?
Oh, is it?
Technically.
I think it's in New York.
Are you sure? I know it's a New York-based airport, but maybe.
I think
I might be wrong. Yeah, that's probably correct. You're probably right.
Yeah. Oh, so you read that chapter.
I sure did.
That's the chapter that almost didn't make it in.
Oh, yeah, it's in Queens. Oh, because it's powerful?
Oh, really?
It's very good. It's very honest. Big Booty Boy, 42069.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you know what's up. What's up, Big Booty Boy, 42069? Blackagar Boltagon.
Oh.
That's Black Bolt from the Marvel Universe's real name. Get vaccinated, you chuckleheads. The 5G lets you see sound, and then you can see your friends again. Let's go.
Oh, I like that person.
Yeah, you should be vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, kind of f off. Unless you have like a medical reason why you can't. But if it's just that you're like, oh, I'm afraid.
And by the way, no one hears that when we say get vaccinated. Anyone who's medically not able to, if they hear you're discriminated, like everyone understands that we mean the people that are like, I don't believe in
the whatabouts.
science.
I am so over the whatabouts on social media where like, you're like, go walk outside. And they're like, what about the people that can't walk? It's like, well, it's a turn of phrase. You don't need to roast me because I said the word walk, like
honestly.
I'm like progressive, but then sometimes I'm like, man, I get why people hate this. Have you seen The Hunt? I haven't yet. But that's the one with the chick from Glow.
And yeah, Hilary Swank. And it's real. I saw it last night. It's really good, but it also, you sort of don't root for some of the liberals because
it's supposed to, I've heard it's like very much so like, we go after both sides. Kind of.
Yeah. Well, it goes like the extreme of both sides, right? Where it's like, that, like, are you wearing a kimono? That is, why are you saying they instead of she? And like, it's
I get it. There's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I certainly buy into progressivism. Yeah, I like it. And also, but sometimes I'm like, oh, like, I get why people don't like, or some people I'm just like, man, that's a bit much.
Well, it made me think about how I would feel if I was misspelling things without knowing it and someone was talking down on me about their views and being like, well, it's because I'm not ignorant. You know what I like? Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we should wrap up the human race. If you...
I'm down with that, except for Jez Butt. He's making more kids. He's not gonna stop. Kimball, just Kimball. I don't care if it's women's deodorant. It works better and smells nicer.
That's not true. It does not work better.
I mean, some might. It depends on what brand, I guess.
Ask that person to message you. Hey, deodorant guy, message Jeff and tell him what deodorant you use. And then Jeff will message it to me because I have a sweat problem. So,
well, yeah, but you don't know. Maybe they know a deodorant that you might need.
That's what I'm saying. Oh. Email Jeff. I'm not making fun of him. I'm saying deodorant guy, email Jeff whatever deodorant you use and he'll tell me.
Do you use a male-centric deodorant or do you use a targeted? Or do you
I was using like the Clinical Dove and Clinical Secret, but then my body got used to it and started to smell again. And now I use Old Spice, but it works, but it smells like a boy. And I don't like smelling like a boy.
That's fair. I use I use like a instead of cologne, I have like an oil that I put on and it's like a vanilla sandalwood thing. And I dated a woman one time that she hated it and she was just like, it smells like you're having an affair. And I was just like, oh, I just really like the smell. And she's like, I sure don't. You can't wear that. And then we broke up and then I was like, I'm going to wear this some more.
I'm going to wear it.
Mr. Billy Beck. Mr. Billy Beck, I'm the law, martial law, and I hate superheroes.
Did he spell Marshall right or did he spell it incorrectly?
Well, it's the name of a character, so it's spelled correctly, but it's not spelled the way you would spell martial law, like the military running an area.
Got it.
SNK's Samurai Showdown 2 parentheses is really hard. This episode also brought to you by the scene in Meet Joe Black where Brad Pitt dies.
Yeah, I didn't know. I never saw that movie.
It opens with him getting blasted by like 6 cars.
Really?
It's very
funny. He walking or was he in a car?
Yeah, he was walking.
Huh.
It's jarring and it's very funny. Superman Family number 184. Kool-Aid Molotov. Oh yeah. Lemming Malloy, These 7 Bs, Farty Marty, a.k.a. Bartholomew Martinez, Nolan Mitten, Cronenberger, Grumblebee, Mike Gouts, Instagrams at Bob_of_skull. I'm also stealing his HBO password, so shout out to Bob.
Does he know?
Yeah, man, he gave it to me.
Yeah, that's not stealing then.
It's fine.
It's using, right?
It's sharing, I guess.
It's sharing.
You know, I've offered people, like, they'll be like, here's my, Peacock app. I'm like, do you want my Netflix so you don't have to pay for it? They're like, no, I'm rich. I'll do whatever. I try to trade with people. Although I'm very lucky that the person who's Disney Plus that I'm using is one of those early access people, and they keep buying all the movies. So I was just like, I guess I'm just able to watch Black Widow from home because you paid
is that
for
good?
it. Yeah, it was good.
Good.
The stakes are weird because you know she's gonna survive because she made it. So like that movie should have been released before Infinity War. It should have been that, but Marvel was like, oh, a woman movie.
Yeah, and it's not just Marvel; it's the rest of the world.
Well, I mean, if DC did Wonder Woman before Marvel did Black Widow, and Marvel had a huge head start.
And how did the rest of the world comment on Wonder Woman both times?
People liked the first Wonder Woman a lot.
I like the second. I didn't see the second one, but
the second one.
But I like that Kristen Wiig was in it because I one day want to be a superhero or an action figure, and maybe I still can be.
Funny story of that though is I kind of one of the reasons I got fired was for making fun of Wonder Woman 84 on social media.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I worked for a company that sold Wonder Woman, and they're like, "You can't do that," and I was like, "But I did."
A guy that we both know, I think, posted something about it, but it was like a kind thing to Wonder Woman and to like lay off that these people worked really hard in a pandemic to make a movie, whatever. I liked his message, so I copied and pasted it and was like, I agree with this. This is the credit who wrote it. This is a good different take on it. I don't know, maybe the world's ending. We all should be better to each other than criticizing everything because we can. And I put down my phone for like 3 hours, and then I was Zooming with a comic, and her boyfriend was a comic, and he came in, he goes, yo, your Facebook is like blowing up. And I was like, what? And there were 400 comments about, and I had messages from dudes that were like, yo, Kym, I love you, but your friends are yo, Kym. And I was like, over Wonder Woman, everyone needs to calm down.
I'll say this. I don't agree with the idea of like, people did the movie, so you don't criticize it. Like, I'm just like, no, some movies are and people should know when they make a movie that they up. Like, and usually that comes down to like the studio up and getting too involved. But I don't believe in the idea that like things are beyond reproach just because other people worked hard on them.
I don't know. I think
when you have $180 million to make a movie and you it up that bad,
I'm going to watch this movie and I'm going to call you and tell you, I bet I'll like it.
I would be surprised. Unless you're one of those people that likes every movie. Their favorite movie is the last movie they saw. I think you're going to be like, man, this movie is dog shit. Because that movie is dog shit.
Okay.
Very poorly thought out. I think the tweet I did that got me in trouble was they said that Warner was submitting it for Oscar consideration, and I think the joke I said was like, this is like the spider that keeps putting a web up by my front door, like you got to shoot your shot. And they were like
that's kind of funny,
and they were like, you can't say that about this movie. And I'm like, but it's bad, but it's a bad movie. And they're like, yeah, but you're critical. I'm like, you hired me because of my Batman podcast, and that is critical, and it's critical. Like, no backing out now. Anyway, shout out to Saint Gut Free, Funky J, David Knife Boot Hinson, Foshizless Jones, and JK, Jeff May's biggest fan. So if you want to, if you want me to say your name or your fake name or your handle, head on over to patreon.com/Jeff May, sign up for that $10 producer tier, and then I will do that. I will debase myself for a very affordable amount. Pay me even more. Why not? So that being said, Kym, you were we got a little bit distracted. Writing this book, making the decision.
Wait, can I finish telling the Tinder guy story?
Oh yes, of course. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I don't remember which one we were talking about first.
It's okay. We'll all get there. It's all cyclical.
We'll get to the Tinder. We'll do the Tinder guy because I want to read you the text. I was like, I'm gonna block him, and then I was like, I don't know. He's gonna be a guy that's never gonna let me go, leave me alone. And I kind of want to see how it plays out. Where is he? I haven't. I know. Okay. I don't need it right now because it's going to die. Okay. So, yeah, I was like, oh, my cat's sick, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And the cat thing. And then I was like, so I'm going to go, man. Like, it's going to be a couple weeks. I just have a lot going on. So that was red flag number 2. So earlier this week, he texted me and was like, how's Henry? Henry's a great name, by the way, which was a sweet thing on the surface, but it was also like, I kind of told you to leave me alone until, just respect boundaries. And off the top, that's a very sweet thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Checking in, but not saying anything romantic or sexual. Just, hey, checking in to see how the cat is.
Yeah. And so I didn't respond, and I didn't respond for any other reason. I have some family stuff going on. I just have a lot going on where I've been out of the loop talking to people that I talk to every day. Right. So it wasn't personal, but I also was very clear that I wasn't going to respond for a while. Right. So he sends this. You ready for this?
I am ready.
Huge thing. This isn't the crazy. It's a little crazy though. Hey there, Kym. I hope this doesn't come off like the other guy on Tinder that his mom thinks is great. That he's great. I should mention that I don't know how to read very well out loud. So this could be a little bit of a wild ride for all of us. Okay. I also hope everything is well on the Henry front. This has got to be the most effort I've ever put into reaching out to a gal on the internet, but I just have a good feeling we'll get along. Number 1, you are looks wise my type. It's such a stupid thing to say. Every pretty girl is everyone's type. You know what I mean? I don't mean to be like, I'm pretty, but I just mean like, yeah, it's just an annoying first thing to say of why he thinks we'd get along. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, no, I sound like an I don't care. Number 2, you write texts in complete, well thought out, funny style. Most of the time it's one worders with these morons. God, I can't read. Number 3, it was
You're like, it's one worders with these morons.
I didn't read it that bad.
No, yet.
Oh yeah, we still have. Okay, so and then number 3, it was a class act for you to reach out before you deleted the app. Most people don't do that, and it shows you have depth. I'm hoping the reason I haven't heard from you is because something happened to your cat, but your response time history.
Wait, real quick. I'm hoping you haven't responded because something happened to your cat.
Yeah, I think he meaning I hope you're not responding because of that. Like something happened to Henry and I'm sad. He's hoping that it's just because I'm busy.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I hope it's because your cat is dead. I hope that's why you're ignoring me.
Oh my God. Do you think? No, whatever.
No, that's not what he meant. There's a 0% chance that that's what that dude meant. But like the way that could be interpreted, I'm like, dude, that's not a good way to say that.
I mean, when we get to the spiral, we'll now rethink that because maybe. Okay. So he said, I'll go ahead and close this out the way I started. I think you're gorgeous and I think you should talk to me. LOL. I hate LOL. It makes me. I'm also way over this dude, so maybe that's why. If you want to grab a drink or chat sometime, I'm all for it. No pressure. Everyone has their own life and circumstances. I hope you have a great weekend. That's nice, right? So I was like, I should give this guy a chance. I'm tall. So let me just say that before. I am tall. And if I have dated men that are shorter than me, it is never a thing that turns out well. There is an anger sometimes.
Well, they're lesser people. Yeah.
Okay. It's okay. And it's not like
we just glossed over what I just said real fast. You just agreed.
I know
with
because
me
I agree.
Going.
Just kidding. In days, the tall people are going to be actually short people will come in handy.
Honestly, the short people are, in my opinion, I think evolutionarily a lot better. Like whenever someone's like, oh, I like a woman would be like, I like how tall you are. I'm like, my back hurts all the time. I don't fit. I don't fit in stuff.
Oh yeah, I don't fit in a lot of stuff.
Like what can I do? Like, do you need me to? I can't reach things that a 5'11" dude can't reach. Like, it's very rare.
How tall are you? 6'5"?
6'4".
6'4"? Okay, why didn't we work out again?
Because. Have you read your book? Do you know how you were acting around the time that we met each other?
Wow, that's really mean.
No, it's not. No, it's not. I'm talking about your journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
There was no room for me in this story.
There wasn't. Or there might have been, but there wouldn't have been room for you in this story.
It would have been terrible.
In my life right now.
We would not be having this podcast if you and I ever dated.
All right, let me finish this.
Okay, let's get to this guy's spiral because I'm sure he's a donor, by the way.
Huh?
He's a Magnolia Thunder. That's who that is.
That would be really great. And then he texts me. He's like, "Hey, I heard that you read my on Jeff May's podcast."
That guy's like, I'm a huge fan of that guy.
I love that guy. So I write a long thing, but I do want to mention in there because I don't know how tall he is and I don't have a poker face. And I know that may sound superficial. I had a girl years ago tell me I was superficial because I wanted a tall guy. And I'm like, I'm not 5'2". I'm 5'11". I want someone taller than me. If you don't like big boobs, or if you like big boobs, don't date me. You know what I like? We all have our types. So off.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. It's hard. You can't blame people for what they aren't attracted to.
Yeah. And it's not like he wrote that thought out thing and I wrote, cool, how tall are you? Here how I wrote it. I did like a sandwich. Hey, Christopher, thank you for the sweet text. I'm sorry I didn't get back with you with Henry. It's been all over the place. Henry's doing well. A little bit about Henry. I love that the fact that I can construct a full sentence is what make you like me. I'm not surprised. It's a nightmare out there. I would love to get a drink. I have a recording on Sunday right now. For a few hours, but I'm free otherwise. How does your Sunday look? This is going to sound super out of left field, but I always mention before we meet that I am tall. Are you tall? Ha ha. It seems a little silly in this moment, but I'm just going to ask. Sometimes when I ask that question, I immediately get blocked or unmatched. And I was like, also to show you how all over the place I am, I thought Sunday was the Broncos opener and I was fully planning on being at the Broncos bar. Thank God I didn't. I checked the calendar because I would be there alone right now.
And also I would be very pissed that you weren't recording this podcast.
Sitting at the Bronco bar just with my Bronco bell.
I'd be like, we got a show you said we booked.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't book that. Okay. So these are texts spiraling from 10 p.m. to 10:30. I never responded. I was in the middle of something. So when they were coming through, I was like, Jesus, man, not a word about anything else that I said, just about his height. You ready for this? You ready? We are probably the same height. I get it. New text. Let's move forward. I'm very much stronger than you and have trained MMA and hockey player. New text. I'm good. Just intuitive that you are getting ahead of yourself. Relax. New text. I'm 5'10", 6'6" in soul. If that's a problem, probably something you should get over. New text. Just don't wear heels. I will wear boots like a real cowboy. You like wimpy men? New text. If you like beta ain't gonna work. New text.
Oh, there it is. That's the keyword right there. This guy is a chud.
Yeah. And the new text, who's the comedian? Ha ha. And I was like, Jesus, man. If he would have said, I'm 5'10", how tall are you? We'd be having a drink after this podcast. Yeah. 5'10" is not that much shorter than me. I would have given him a shot. But
you would have been hearing about how great Joe Rogan was during that entire conversation. That guy. I call them bro Rogans.
What's a beta bitch? I don't even know what that is.
He means he thinks he's an alpha male. Oh. He's one of these alpha guys, but he's not. He's probably a weirdo that's a toxic bro.
That's a short man syndrome thing. That's what short dudes do. Not all of them. Yeah. I'm not saying that, but that's what the stereotype.
Well, he's not even short either.
He's not even short.
He's 5'10". Although I do like when guys who are like 5'9" is average. I'm like, well, China's doing a lot of the heavy lifting on the average height because the average male height in China is like 5'4", and there's like a billion and change.
Yeah, so not really, buddy.
So calm down.
But I want to say it shows how much progress I have made with all the work I've done on myself, which will circle us back to the book. Because 1 year ago or 2 years ago, when I first started this whole journey on loving myself, that started mid 2018, but I would have been like, I should just give him a shot. I'm being superficial. All of my gut says, don't go. This guy is going to be a nightmare, but I would have dated him for 4 more years or something like that. Yeah,
that guy.
Yeah.
It's funny that it boiled down to that final thing where he was like beta, and then I was like, oh, that's the reddest of the flags.
Jesus, Joe Rogan. Okay.
Well, it's that sort of the Jordan Peterson, Joe Rogan sort of fandom of like eating red meat makes you an alpha. And like he said, he like was training MMA guys and shit. And like, that's
like also, I don't know. It got me when he told me to relax and he used the whole he's a sales guy. So he's like, I want to go ahead and move forward. I don't care how you're feeling. And it was just like, okay, we're good, man. I'm
Well,
really
it's
pretty.
it's the whole thing where it's like, let's move forward is like, okay, he answered, and then he's like, now let's move on past this. That alone, I'd be like, that's fine. That seems about right. Let's move forward. But then he's like, honey, and he started to be like a bit.
Yeah. And then you like wimpy men. Like, just Jesus. Like, honestly, if he would have just said, I'm 5'10, how tall are you? I would have been like, oh, I'm 5'11. But he telling me I should get over it, or if you like this, it's not going to work. Like, it was just like, and then telling me that I'm getting ahead of myself, that I'm making this bigger than I'm like, you've been heavily pursuing me for like 3 months that I've barely responded to you.
Yeah. Oh, this guy, man. I'm so glad. Like, I'm a dude, and that's awesome. It's really good. I mean, for all of the fear that we instill in just the general population by being a white man, I gotta tell you, man, the fact that I'm not, whenever I get catcalled, it feels great.
Oh yeah,
like it's not like a potential crime.
Yeah, you don't get followed for 3 to 4 blocks. You don't,
And if so, I'd be like, moi. Thank you.
But you're also very big, and you don't have to. My favorite thing when I'm walking down the street, this is what I tell all my women friends to do. I have a mace or a pepper spray. Yeah. If I see a dude giving me the look of like I'm going to be creepy in some way, I exaggeratedly pull out my pepper spray from my purse. I unclick it, and then I just walk down the street like this. And 100% of the time, they leave me alone.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that so much.
Yeah. Because women, we also are trained to be like, don't upset anybody. So me doing that is like, why are you doing that? That'll upset him. I'm like, no, I want him to know that I have no problem spraying his if he looks at me even cross-eyed.
You should get a gun and do that.
I have thought about buying a gun.
Just get a gun
recently.
and just like point it at them as you're walking by.
You now making fun of? Do you not love that then? Is that
no?
sarcasm?
I generally do. I was just yes-anding with it as being a gun and how much more intense that would be.
And it had to be a little gun, like a little pink gun,
no,
too.
Like a big
revolver,
Desert Eagle, one that's gonna
like
kick that. Like
Rick Grimes gun.
What was that? He had like a Magnum, right?
I have no idea. I know nothing
Colt
of guns.
45, yeah. Or either way, like that would be like one of the kinds of guns where you're like, I'm going to fire this. I'm going to get hit in the head with my own gun after I fire it, but there will be a hole in your body.
Yeah.
Or most likely they'll just take the gun from you.
No, I'm pretty tough. That was another thing that was annoying. That assuming that he's tough. I promise you, I'm tougher than you. Well, that's not.
You're like, I don't need you. Not emotionally, big boy.
Yeah, I should have said that. But not. I don't need you to walk me down the street in an alleyway. I've got this. I've had this the whole time. You don't. You know what? Assuming that's why I care about how tall you are.
Yeah, you're like, I only care about how tall you are because I want to fetishize somebody taller than me. It has nothing to do with whether you can't protect me, which you can't.
You can't. Anybody who says, because you're short. All right, so why I wrote the book, should we go to that now?
I mean, we could just do this whole bit of being mean to short people as I just continue to lose subscribers. That being said, I like short people more than I like tall people. And whenever I get complimented for being tall, I'm like, that's literally the one thing I didn't accomplish. That's the one thing that I didn't do. And I did a bit about it, but I essentially equated to like height is the tits of men, where it's like we didn't do anything to earn it. We're getting unwanted attention and my back hurts.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
like tits you can buy though now.
I mean, you can get, leg extensions, right?
Can you?
You can get like, in actors, they get like lifts in their shoes. And
but like leg extension, like not like surgically.
I mean, some people I know certain like little people had done that. They would get like you'd get an extension in your leg and stuff, like a bone extension thing.
Oh, that sounds so painful.
It probably is, most likely, yeah.
And oh God.
Yep.
I always feel that way about being like attractive people. I get annoyed like when you're an attractive person. I think the same thing. It's like that. I'm aesthetically pleasing for our culture. I didn't earn this. I didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you should compliment people on being a good person or smart or giving a about racial issues. You know what I don't know. No,
I get it. Like, yeah, like the compliments, in a dating compliment, when somebody tells you something that they like, that is like a fetishization of something that's not an accomplishment, like that to me I'm always just like, that's not good to me. Like I would get that a lot with people with being tall. Like people in bars, like women in bars would be like, oh, you're tall, I like it. And I'd be like, thanks, I worked really hard at it. And I know that sounds like, oh, poor little rich boy or whatever, but at the same time.
Did you just burp?
No.
Oh, I thought you burped. Sorry.
It's a good hypothesis, but no, just my general speaking voice sounds like I'm burping all the time.
Really?
No.
I've never noticed until this moment. I mean, I'm very tall, so I get the same thing. Oh, those legs. Oh, you're really tall. I used to get sports yelled at me. That hasn't happened in years. Not, oh, do you play basketball? People would literally yell basketball at me. Just yell it.
Just the concept of basketball in a bank.
Yeah, basketball. And you'd be like this, and they'd be like, oh, like point you up and down. And it's just like.
And then you go, no, Kym.
No, because you don't want them to know your name.
Yes, that is my name. Yes, I am Mrs. Basketball.
That I was on the phone one time, and a bald dude came up to me at the mall. It's important. Came up to me and was like,
"Basket mall."
While I was on the phone, he looked me up and down and goes, "Why are you so tall, stranger?" And I was like, "What?" On the phone, and he goes, "Why are you so tall?"
Should have done the pepper spray thing to him.
Well, I didn't have pepper spray then. This was like when I was like 22 and not secure. But I did look at him and go, "Why are you so bald?" And then he was like, "What? That's so rude." And I was like, "Yeah.
It's weird, right? Yeah.
It is rude. Yeah.
So let's circle back to the book.
So I started writing it like as the Zagat, and then the more I was writing it, the more each story was kind of sad, and like where my self-esteem was, and just like how like each story was like, God, I wouldn't put up with that now. And then so I started sort of twisting each story about how I've learned to love myself and how I wouldn't have put up with that now, or then what I put up. You know what I'm trying to say? I wouldn't put up with that now.
Continue trying to say it out loud.
And so then I started telling stories where there was no restaurant involved. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to table the restaurant thing, because I think the book my fear in the back of my mind was my stories weren't enough to make a good book. So I wanted to add like a thrill to it. And I was like, I think you have a good book here. You don't need that. And so the book, I describe it as like on the surface, every story is like a funny, crazy dating story. But then under it is like a woman who is looking for love in really sad places. And like you said, dating a lot of people that didn't love her so she could figure out how to love herself.
The tone is great. There have been moments where I've laughed out loud during some of the paragraphs, which it's not something I normally do. Not to be like a dick to other people, but I don't laugh out loud a lot. If I find something's funny, a lot of times I'm just like, that was a good joke.
It's comics, but that sucks.
Yeah,
for us.
It does. Sometimes I'll fake a laugh when I know something is a good joke. My brain is like, you gotta laugh.
Or I had this friend that wasn't funny at all ever, but she would do these bits like to the point where she was like on the ground twisting herself in a pretzel, and my brain was like, for the love of God, laugh. She's not going to stop until she gets some sort of acknowledgement. And I'm like, ha, that's so funny. And then she'd stop, and I'm like, God, she's not.
I would just be like, what are you doing? You're working so hard for no ending to this.
No.
I wouldn't.
You laughed out loud.
I wouldn't.
Sorry.
I did. I laughed out loud during some of this. You said there was a sentence. I wish I could find it, but you said something, and then you were like, I thought I could use that word, and I can't. I feel gross.
Coitus.
Coitus. You said coitus, and you're like, and you said, ooh, thought that word would be good in here. It's absolutely not. I'm sorry. And then you kept going with the story, and that paragraph, I laughed out loud.
Oh, I love that.
It was very good, and then I threw the book out. Because I was like, I can't beat that.
Can't beat that. What chapter are you on right now?
I'm in the hard one. I'm right about to read. This one's long. It's really long. Josh.
That's the longest one, I think.
Josh Norton.
Yeah.
All the names are fake, right?
Yeah. So that's a fun story. There's some people in there that are famous. And there are some people in there that are not famous, but big deals in Hollywood that like take care of famous people. Right. And so I always kind of knew I had to change some of the names. Like I always knew that, but then days before I was going to publish this book, I was out. I had written the Josh Norton story and it wasn't going to make it in the book, right? Like when I sent it off to the editor, it took me a year to write that chapter. Every time it was just the first real heartbreak I'd ever had.
Yeah.
And I don't sit around and pine over this dude. I wish him the best. We're friends on all social media. Like I haven't talked to him in 10 years, but like it was a really tough chapter to write, right? So I sent it off to the editor and I was like, I'm not going to put the Josh Norton in there. But it was like eating away at me, right? Like it was just like that I feel, and I'm so grateful I did it. I was like, just write it and see what happens. So my roommates at the time, I had them in the book. And so my friends that are in the book, I asked, do you want your name changed or do you want to keep your name, right? Most of them were cool. My one roommate was like, yeah, that's fine. As long as you don't talk about any of the controversial stuff I did, because he's now like a doctor, scientist with kids, right? So he's just like, as long as there's none of the stuff that I wouldn't really want out in the.
He's a kid scientist?
No, he's curing cancer.
Oh, that you should have led with that.
Yeah. Well, you'll get, if you haven't got to him yet, that's when he gets his PhD is in that chapter.
Yes,
so,
I did get to that.
Oh, yeah. So I asked him and he was like, yeah, that's totally fine. And I'm like, cool.
Your friend
and then
Ali, who I thought was Allie, your roommate at the time. And then it was like, you said he, and I was like, oh, I envisioned a totally different thing.
No, Ollie is a Bronco fan.
I have met him.
You've met Ollie.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and then the other roommate is, she's a dear friend of mine, but she's a little difficult. I don't think she'll ever hear this. I think she actively doesn't seek out anything I write or do, but she's just a little difficult, right? So I messaged her.
Like yes. Okay. It's okay to say that. Like people are sometimes even the people that we like.
Yeah, I love her, but she's and she knows she's and she's difficult. And so I texted her and I was like, hey, I wrote this book. You're in a chapter briefly. I mentioned you're my roommate. There's not anything else. And she was like, yeah, I'm going to need to read the chapter. And she's a person that like old Kym would have let read that chapter and then she would have criticized it. And then the whole book would have never happened because I would have gotten super in my head. So at the time I was like in my closet recording for a voiceover job that I had booked. Right. And I was like doing email. I had so much happening and this book was going to be published in like 4 days. And I was like, hey girl, I'm not going to, no one's reading the book. Everyone who's read the book is already going to read the book. You're going to have to wait for it published. And I was like, no big deal. I'll just change your name. And she's like, I'll likely want to be in the book. I just need to read it. And I was like, you're not going to, so I'm just going to change the name. And then she was like, well, as long as it's not about, and then 6 things about her personally. And I'm like, why would I write a book about that?
No, you're like, by the way, nobody wants to read that book.
Or you write that book. I'm sure it'd be lovely, but why on earth would I write the book about you?
Yeah. Like, who do you think this book is about?
Yeah. Like, and so then I text Ali and he was like, honestly, just do yourself a favor. Just no matter what. Because then she was like, fine, you can use my name. And then he goes, just change her name because she's a person that in 5 years, if this thing blows up, she'll want something or sue me. And so I was at lunch the next day with a friend and I was like, oh, talking about this. And I'm like, yeah. So and then my friend goes, well, I'm sure your lawyer has already like advised you on all these name changes. And I was like, lawyer? I was like, no, I'm self-publishing. And she's like, am I boring you?
No, I'm listening.
Are you writing something down?
I am.
Oh, okay. What are you writing down?
I'm writing down questions that I want to ask as you're telling me information.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I made it weird. Okay.
Thanks for trying to pierce the fourth wall. Okay, fine. You want to know the question I was going to ask?
No, because I'm almost done with this part.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. I won't pierce the fourth wall again. That's a lie. I probably will. So I was like, lawyer? And she goes, well, yeah, your publishing company. And I was like, no, I'm publishing on my own. She goes, you don't have a lawyer that has like advised you on writing about other people? And I was like, well, I'm going to change names. And so I have a friend who's an entertainment lawyer. So I called him. I'm going to sneeze.
We got there.
Okay. So he's an entertainment lawyer. It's gone, I think. And I call him and I ask him and he goes, well, great guy. I love him a lot. But he goes, well, most people, he goes, when are you publishing? I'm like 3 days. He goes, yeah, most people call me a year ago when they started to write the book. And I was like,
You're like,
what do I
well,
do?
I didn't.
Yeah, I was like, cool. All right, well,
Now
it's written.
give me free legal advice.
Yeah. And he did. And he was like, he goes, change the names for sure, but don't change too much of the characteristics just in case you start to describe some other guy and then that guy. And then I talked to another friend who is friends with Tucker Max, the
that author.
Yeah, the beer, and he got sued a bunch, but then won everything because everything was true. And then I did a bunch of Googling and it was like, people can't sue. And that's what my lawyer friend said too. He's like, they won't have grounds in court for libel if as long as you're not saying someone
the facts. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're not accusing someone of like raping you. And I was like, no, this is like a fun book.
But what if they did that?
If I had written that?
What if they did? I'm saying.
Oh, raped
You know
me?
what? I didn't need to ask that question. Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
That was
like
what an awful tangent for me to go on.
They probably wouldn't have been in my fun book about my drinking days. I don't know, my fun, also serious book about my drinking days. But so I changed all the names, and my lawyer friend was just like, because now that TC is the one chapter that, especially comedians, I'm just getting guess after guess of who it is. And my lawyer friend was like, I would just make it uniformed across the board. You're not telling anybody what anybody's names are.
Sure.
Just to keep yourself safe.
Do that, but also tell me in the future. Not on here. You don't have to tell me that, but you should tell me. I can keep it secret.
Love that you're saying that now, but yesterday you're like, I don't even care.
I don't, but you brought it up again, and I'm like, well, now I want to know.
And then you told me.
Mainly because I want to know if I'm right.
You were like, no one's going to sue you. And I was like, that means you don't think the book is going to blow up. I'm terrified of him reading that.
That's not what I meant by no one's going to sue you. I mean, you didn't say anything wrong.
Yeah.
So why would they sue you?
I also have a whole disclaimer in the front about how it's my.
Yeah, the 3 parts every storyline.
Yeah. And I had a funny line where I was talking, it's the next chapter you're going to read about a television star who had done some creepy stuff. Not creepy, like sexual, like that, not like predator, but just like weird sex stuff. So I, in my disclaimer, I was like, I changed names so the television star who doused himself in baby oil won't sue me. And my lawyer friend was like, yeah, in your disclaimer, your legal disclaimer, I wouldn't make a joke. He's like, judges don't have sense of humor. And I was like, all right, no.
The law is unfunny.
It's like, it's a funny joke though, right?
It is.
He's like, yeah,
I did
it's
read
funny.
that. I did read that part.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Wasn't
wild.
That after John?
No.
Oh.
Trust me, I'm reading the book right now. I think I know a little bit about this book, Kym.
I can't believe you're reading it. That makes me so happy. Okay, what are your questions that I...
How much did it cost to make a book?
It's free if you do it the cheapest way, but I paid somebody to design my cover, and then I paid somebody to edit it. So the person who designed my cover, she charged like 50 and I gave her 75 because it was so good. And then the editor...
Shout her out in case we need graphic arts.
Missy...
Bright?
Brishhammer? Yeah, it's at Missy B. I don't know. Go to my Instagram and I tag her and everything in my book. Like, or at Missy B. Here, I can look her up.
No, don't bother. You just keep doing your thing. You keep answering my question. I'll take care of the rest of it.
So, and then I paid an editor, which he usually would charge $500 for the size of book, but because he was a friend of a friend, he charged me, I think, like $200. So that, and then, so it's free, really. If you like, there are people that just write books on Amazon KDP, and you do it for free if you want to do the absolute.
Yeah, but I mean, because you have a physical book right here, and so like, how much did it cost to like get those physical copies printed out and everything?
Each copy is $3.79 or something like that. Oh. So like I charge.
That's more than I thought it would be.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought it would be like $2. But you know what? I also what the do I know about books? I'm barely literate.
I mean, it's a nice, if you feel it's very pretty. They did a really good job with the printing. Like it's,
She's on Instagram, by the way, at Hello Missy B, MISSYBEE. Very talented.
So talented. She does concepts with models, and she has like brought me over, put a bunch of like beautiful makeup on, and then taken photos of me. And they're some of my favorite photos. She's crazy talented. She's just an artist, graphic designer. She's really good. So look her up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was so it was a relatively free. You said it took you a little over a year to organize your thoughts and.
Well, I started in March when the world ended.
Wow, you got started early on writing a book, huh?
Yeah, I was like, I started a Facebook writers group and invited people who were writing. I might have asked you too. I don't remember. I asked everybody.
I pretty much ditched Facebook during the pandemic.
Which is smart because.
Oh, I was getting so angry. My life fell apart because of how angry I was getting.
Oh, because of politics or?
Because of like anti-mask people and like the conspiracy theorists about COVID and like all this stuff. And I was just like, all I'm doing is telling people I graduated with how stupid they are, which is true. But like, what do I get out of reminding somebody that failed high school science that he failed high school science? Like they don't need me to tell them that anymore.
A really popular kid from my high school who was never nice to me in high school. He was never mean to me, but he just never gave me the time of day or like super popular guy. We're friends on Facebook now. He messages me this long ass thing about how masks don't work. COVID is fake, blah, blah, this crazy long thing. And I wrote him back and I was like, how dare you? Like, we don't know each other. I couldn't pick you out of a lineup. I haven't seen you in 20 years. Like, what? And he was like, I didn't know you got so mean. And then he unfriended me. Then he refriended me. It was a whole.
You got COVID, Kym.
Yeah, I got really bad. Do you want to know how bad I got COVID?
You got I was going to say
inhaler in my closet, and you've seen me like struggling breathing here and there.
No, it you up in the bad way, and you got it. You were working at a restaurant bar, that I will say out loud because of course I wouldn't have you say this out loud. That was probably not following the rules properly.
They were not. I got it.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're allowed to say that out loud? Okay, good.
I don't work for them anymore.
Okay, good. So this place, they were there. And then I know one of the things that I noticed, and I obviously didn't want to say anything at the time, but you had also been doing a couple live shows, right? During the pandemic?
I did 2 when things had slowed down in June, July, August, maybe around that, when things were like where it was starting to look like we were going to.
Of 2020?
Of 2020, yeah. I mean, even when I was working in the bar, we were getting news from the state that we were going to be able to have indoor dining like in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, and we f***ed that up, huh?
Well, we did because, I mean, if you were in the bar scene when the Lakers and the Dodgers won, I think I got COVID the night of the Dodger World Series, yeah. So, no, and the 2 live shows I did were safer than I felt most places. Like it was like everybody had their own microphone. It was, Well,
because I remember when you got COVID and I was just like, and of course, I knew what I knew and I knew you'd done some live shows and I was like, well, I hope some people noticed, I hope when people started to get COVID, I always, hoped everybody was safe and healthy and stuff. But I hope everybody's learning lessons from when their friends get sick.
But I had to work.
Yes,
unemployment was starting to go away. Like my old boss, which I'm a little salty about the whole thing because I known these guys who own the bar I worked at. I won't say the bar just because I feel like that's a little bit, but
message it to me and then I'll say it.
Right now. But I was really good friends with them and he offered me a job to come back. I came back and then my whole life is different now. I have scoliosis. That's another thing that happened with my COVID. I got scoliosis because I was in bed for so long. Oof. That's fun, right? And
now you're 5'10" like that other guy. You used to be 5'11" until you got scoliosis.
Should I start having meltdowns at strangers about being a beta?
You should text him, just be like, as a heads up, by the way, we are the same height now because I have a question mark for a back.
Yeah. And it's not fun.
No, it wouldn't be.
But yeah, like I'm just salty because I was good friends with this owner and I got COVID and I heard from one of them once 4 months after I tested positive. Like he was like, we're good friends, we're buddies outside all this. We'll always be good friends. I'll always be there for you. And then I went to the hospital 2 times and nothing, crickets. crickets.
I remember you posting stuff about how like you were trying to walk like up a step and you couldn't do it. And it took you out. Like you got hit. This is one of those examples of when people were like, it's like a flu, or like they were citing death statistics. And I'm like, it's not all about that. And you got hit with that sort of chronic.
Yeah, I have long haul COVID.
Yeah.
I have, and it's unclear how it's going to affect me. Like like every day, I mean, like some days I'm able to, like yesterday, Whitney and I walked around Burbank around town. We're getting a couch.
Your friend and the person that you used to run Mouthy Pants with, Whitney Melton, a comedian and good person.
Yeah. Wonderful human.
Wonderful human. I just had to say that because
no one knows who the
most people listening are like, who?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, no. But I today am feeling really tired and I'm like, and then other days I went to Disneyland a couple of weeks ago and walked 10,000, like not 10,000, 20,000 steps. And the next day I was like kind of fine. So it depends, but I have to use the inhaler and I have to be really good at it. If I forget to use it, then I can't breathe. And I got hit really bad. So don't get COVID.
That's up.
Yeah.
That's not as funny as I thought it was going to be.
How did you think it was going to? I will say when the World Series, my section, there's a section that has a fire pit, and COVID regulations has 6 and 6 on each side. And there were 30 people on that fire pit. And I went to the manager, the security guard, and the bar manager. And I was like, this is unsafe. And this is when numbers were climbing. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable. You've got stop letting people in. And they were like, what do you want us to do, Kym? We need to make money. And I was like, this thing is serious, guys.
When you were talking to that lawyer about your book, you should have been like, hey, can you help me sue a place?
Actually, I've been collecting lawyer figures for years because I think I'm probably going to commit a pretty big crime at some point in my life. And I have a suing lawyer that I've thought about many times calling. He and I dated when I worked at this original bar. And when I would tell him just a day in my life, he would like pop up and I would be like, settle down, Johnny Law. I'm not suing anyone. I'm just talking about my day. But I think he would help me do something about this if I
hope he's not in your book. You don't want to put somebody that's a suing lawyer in a book.
Which sucks because his story, how we broke up, everything that happened between us is so good. And he's not in my book because of that. I was like, I'm going to need him one day. And I don't
We should have you tell that story and I'll release it on the Patreon only.
Okay.
You want to do that?
I mean, I never use his name and I have his story on my podcast and it was the first joke I ever wrote. So he knows it's out there and he knows what he did. But yeah, for sure. After we do this.
So what we can do, how about, we'll do that. And we'll do a little quick episode or a little quick finish after the end of the episode. And we'll just tell that story. And that'll be for patrons only.
I would love that.
Yeah, I would love that too.
Yeah. So yeah, I got bad COVID. Don't get COVID. So, okay. So I started the book in March and then I worked on it a lot until June. Mm-hmm. And then George Floyd happened. And George Floyd happened and I lost steam on, not a lot seemed important except for that, what was happening there. Yeah. So I just sort of lost steam. And then in September, I started writing it again. And then like a month later, I got really bad COVID. And then in January, I was like, okay, I am going to publish this book. Cause I knew like what I knew about my podcast when I started the podcast, when I wanted to start it, someone gave me really good advice. He was just like, just record. Most people will write a book and then they'll think way too much about it and then never release it. We do that with our art. And I was like, you either need to work on this and do this now before your birthday. I gave myself this 6-month birthday. I was like, you need to do it now or you'll never do it.
Now or never.
And so And so January, I set a goal of June 18th, which is my birthday. And I
missed it. No,
you missed my birthday? You miss my birthday every year.
No, I don't. I always exist on June 18th.
Yeah, but you never.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I missed the day. Just means
I
didn't tell.
Your birthday is either August 3rd.
It's 4 months later. Exactly.
October 18th.
That a girl.
Really? Did I do that math right? Oh, dude, the brain frog too. I call it Brian Frog. Brian's frog.
What?
That's what I call my brain frog because I call our brain fog because call my brain Brian.
Yeah, no, I get it. No, I got
Yeah.
you the whole time. I just wanted you to explain it out loud.
Because it's Brian's frog. It's Brian's frog.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. So so you did great math. You did month math. You added
Month
4
math.
months. So the COVID is basically gone.
Yeah.
You're not being hindered down by that anymore. I realize now that we have just been sort of shooting the together for quite a while, and I do want more information, but I've got like 5 minutes left with you on this episode.
Really?
Yeah, it's like I try not to go over 90 minutes because anything over that seems a bit egregious. Fun story. You tell me this all the time. You keep trying to harass me into doing a podcast together.
I think we should.
Yeah. What would it be? What would it be about?
I don't know. This?
Just me interviewing you for an hour and a half every week?
Yeah, let's just do that.
That would be. I'll come have you back on. What I can do too is, because I do have like the schedule of the Jeff Has Cool Friends stuff, but I should have you on and we can do some stuff on the Patreon and stuff if you want.
I would love that, but I think we should.
I know it's funny because I have 4 regular shows and I'm just like, I don't know if I can do a 5th one. I'm so tired.
Well, how long would we do it? I think we should. I mean, I don't know, especially since you said a lot of people love our interactions.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we could do like a history show, or like we could have like a.
I just wish people would stop asking me to do a history podcast. I know that's not
Other
about
people.
you. People ask. I got a message on the Patreon like yesterday about it, and they all. I know why they want it, and I'm sure it would be good. But man, boy, did I quit history.
Because you're a history. That would be it. Okay, I don't know a lot about history. I grew up in Littleton, Colorado, where my history was very whitewashed. I actually had a little show on stereo over the pandemic where we would learn stuff, me and my co-host. And so I did Martin Luther King once. And everyone's like, you don't know about Martin Luther King? I'm like, no, this is how you were taught in Littleton, Colorado about Martin Luther King. It was like, everybody really loved him. He had a dream. We were all on his side. There was no controversy there. Here's a little bit about Rosa Parks. Thank God February's over. And that's all we learned. And so all the shit I know is like, and then I learned a bunch about Martin Luther King. And I was like, no one liked that guy.
No, people were really against him in the 60s.
Yeah. And so maybe we could do a podcast because you know a lot about history. And then each week we could pick a subject. I could learn a little bit about it on my own and then we could discuss it.
I adore you.
Okay. Just say no.
I don't want to do a history podcast because I left it for a reason. Like it's something I'm good at. Like I'm good at knowing history. I don't enjoy it. And people automatically assume because I got my degree in it and because I taught it that it's something that's really fun for me.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I'm not interested in it. You mentioned the action figure that I bought you often in your book.
Oh, I do.
Because you keep a Buffy the Vampire Slayer action figure for you. And I got that for you. Hey, Kym, tell me, what holiday did I get that for you?
I love that you think my birthday is a holiday.
Okay.
I understand that you're trying to point out that you haven't missed all of my birthdays. You've actually,
I think,
like usually when you come to my birthday, it's because you have some girlfriend at the time who's also coming to my birthday.
That's not true. I just went to get you a present. I picked that
Today?
out for you. No. What, planning for your June 18th birthday?
Well,
I do that for some people. If I see something they'll like, I'll sit on something and for months. I do that a lot. Yeah. I've had stuff like I've had caches of presents for people that broke up with me. And I'm just like, all right, here, these were things I was getting you for Christmas and your birthday. I know we're broken up. I'm not going to keep these in my house. This is
You're
not
that ex-boyfriend.
I'm just like, this is not me trying to win you back. It's just, these were for you. And I picked them up when we were together. Here. I'm not the ex-boyfriend that's like, we should be back together. Here's the stuff. It's like, I got all this stuff for you. It was for later. I don't have it anymore. Just take it.
Oh, maybe I should try to date you.
Nobody wants that except for all the fans.
Yeah. See?
That'd be a good way to break up. We have a podcast.
Yeah. Let's have a podcast about.
But somebody did ask. I feel bad because I get messages like on Patreon and on Twitter and stuff. And they're like, I'd love for you to do a history podcast. And I'm like, I know you would. And I'm sure it would be fun, but it would be not fun for me.
All right.
And
Well, then what podcast would you want to do?
I don't have time to do another podcast.
Then why did you mention you and me doing a podcast? Why would you
because
bring that
you
up
bring
and
it
give
up on the
a
air
little
all the
bit of
time.
hope? I do not. I brought it up maybe 3 times.
We've only been on the air together like 3 times.
That's not real.
I introduced you to your first McRib
Yeah, that was
on an episode of Unpops.
not good.
You liked it. No, I have the episode. You liked it.
Did I? I don't remember.
Yeah. See, that's
do
the
not
thing.
recall.
People like to be snobby about stuff like that. And they'll be like, I didn't like it. And I'm like, let's go back. We got the tape. You enjoyed it.
I think I'm just freaked out about McDonald's.
Yeah, because it's trash. But that doesn't mean it's not tasty. It just means it's
No.
made of bugs.
No. The reason why it's not that. You want to know why I'm really freaked out by McDonald's? It's their hamburger buns. They taste like sugar and all of the onions are just in one spot in the middle. Why are they in the middle? Why does it taste like sugar?
2 things.
So many unanswered questions.
2 things. Number 1, because they add sugar.
So much sugar. It tastes like sugar. Sugar.
I mean, I would say it's not all of them. I think the ones that are on there, like those slick ones that are on like a hamburger or a cheeseburger or whatever, I think that is the case. Their onions, I love those things because they're just like little dehydrated onion pieces, and they turn into these little crunchy bits, and they're so good.
They're terrible.
I like a McDonald's. I like a diced. I'm not going to pretend I'm too good to enjoy something trashy.
No one said, although, okay, I've learned something new about myself. I just discovered Walmart.
Oh, you haven't heard of it? It's they've been doing great numbers.
Okay, look, I've heard of them, but I didn't realize. So I went to Walmart for the first time, I think ever. Maybe when I was a kid, I went a couple of times with my hillbilly side of the family, and it was bananas. The woman that was helping me thought I was out, like I had just landed from outer space. I was like, "Is this $5? $5? This is a great fanny pack."
Yeah,
Walmart's wild.
You know, the reason for that is that the savings are passed down to you by the
Yeah, I know.
low-key
I walked
slave
away
labor.
from the woman and I was like, I understand the Waltons probably treat you terribly.
Can I make a suggestion?
What?
Costco.
I don't have a membership.
Costco is worth the membership, for one.
How much is a membership?
$60 a year.
Oh,
It's totally worth it. Number 2, the family that owns Costco, they treat their employees so good, and they always have. During the point, like, I was walking through Costco and I saw that even during the pandemic, they still had like the sample people out there, but you couldn't have samples. It was just like on display. And at first I was like, this is so stupid. And then I remembered it's like, oh no, they're keeping those people employed and paid, even though they have nothing to do. So what they're doing is they're making sure, like, Costco is like a great company to work for. And I f with them. I love Costco. I love going there. I get my protein powder there. It's like less than half the price of where you get it anywhere else.
Can I go with you to Costco one time?
Absolutely, you can.
See, Whitney and I, the guy I was just talking about, the guy who I started Mouthy Pants with, we were going to go to Costco yesterday. And I was like, you have a membership? And he goes, no, you just walk in like you own the place and they don't ask you.
They check for your Costco card when you walk in.
That's what I said. I was like, every time I've walked in with someone, they look for the card. He goes, they've never asked me. He just walks in.
I would say that Whitney Melton has the kind of look where you'd be like, this guy has a Costco card.
Yeah.
I do. I have a Costco card. I love it. My old neighbor told me, he's like, you should go. It's great. And I've gotten so much. The computer that I am recording on right now, I got through Costco. It was so good. Like, everything is fantastic there. I cannot stress enough how much I love Costco.
Can we go sometime?
It's like a moral Walmart. Yeah, of course.
Maybe we could have a podcast. Now I'm on it because you asked what would our podcast be about. And then I was like, oh, there's a shot. Jeff and I may have a podcast together. And then you shot it down.
Podcast Co. That's what we'll call it.
Yeah.
Or Costcast.
No, both are really bad.
Those
I'm
are
just trying to
terrible
yes
names,
and
yeah.
you. I'm just trying to.
Look, man,
like,
not everything is good that I do. As a matter of fact, most things are terrible that I have done. Kym,
You loved my book.
I loved your book. Excuse me, I am loving your book. I have not finished. It might at the end you'd be like, the last words like, and Jeff May. And then I'd be like, ah.
I have a whole
like
chapter
this.
that's called Jeff May.
And it's about how we never have.
Yeah, I know. We've
Then-
made out on top of my vehicle a few
We
times.
did that one time. We did. I was wondering if we were going to bring that up.
One time?
We on your vehicle. Yeah, we have kissed twice.
We've kissed more than twice.
No, we've kissed twice. I remember. It happened twice.
One was in your car,
and then in the book you wrote a thing about how it was like something was like the best first kiss you ever had, and nothing ever compared to it. And in my head, I was like, "Ah."
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm disgusting. I have terrible breath. My teeth are falling out, and I'm very ugly. So it all tracks that I would not be on the list.
I don't think I made a list though. But did you read that first kiss though? That story, that first kiss, that's a pretty good first kiss.
Yeah, and it's awful. Sounds terrible, and the guy sounds like a turd. No, I'm just,
really?
Just kidding. Sounds great, and it's a great story. It's a great story. It's like the middle chapter of the book, and it seems like a purposefully so middle chapter.
Oh yeah, I put it as an arc. Like I put there's like a
At first, when I was reading it, I was gonna wonder if it was just like telling your stories through like a thought process, like you're just thinking them through, and then I saw like, these are really expertly placed in order. I noticed, Kym.
That makes me happy.
Kym,
I'm proud of it.
You should be. And I would suggest that you should all check out Confessions of a Party Girl. And Kym, I have a question.
Recovering Party Girl.
No, the one I'm writing one called Confessions of a Party Girl. So buy that.
Is it about you, or is it about?
Buy that one. Confessions of a Recovering Party Girl. Kym, how do we get this book? Do we go to your Instagram at KYMKRAL and click View Shop to buy it? Is that the best way for us to buy this book?
There's a couple of ways you can do that. You can just go to KymKral.com, and then there's a link that says buy my book.
KYMKRAL.
Yes.
That's important to know.
Yeah, weird spelling. And then also in my Instagram, the link tree has two options. One, if you want a signed copy, and then you get a fun little bookmark and a sticker, which I think I stuck in your books.
You gave me a bookmark.
I'm really proud of that bookmark.
A sticker and a thank you postcard with a
that
QR
also has
code.
You to write a review.
Oh, that's what it's at. So this is more of a request.
You didn't read it? You just saw thank you?
I started reading the book.
That's fair. That's fair.
I had a book to read. I'm not here to ask you about your postcard, Kym.
I was really proud of that postcard.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm really
and then
proud of that bookmark.
Your bookmark says you either pooped your pants as an adult or your time is coming. Stay awkward and awesome, with a picture of you holding a drink, and it says www.kymkral.com on it.
I'm really proud of that bookmark. I might be more proud of that bookmark than I am the whole book.
Well, I've actually gotten to read the whole bookmark, so at least there's that. I can tell you that it's a great story. And then, of course, the sticker is Kral Space, the name of your podcast, KRAL Space.
Yeah. And then on my Instagram, there's two links in my link tree. If you want to get it, just the Amazon copy or a Kindle copy, you can get it on Amazon. Or if you want to get the signed copy with, the bookmark and all the stuff in there, go to KymKral.com. Those take a little bit more time.
Because you had COVID.
Well, yeah. Well, the world also did. No, for some reason, the bulk orders are like, if I order one book, I order one book and I'll get the discount. I won't get a discount. I have to just buy the book, and then I get like the
yes, the book
money that one would get from what is that called?
Profits.
Yeah, but I'm not. Yeah, profits. That's fine.
Revenue.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's not the word I'm looking for, but
it's okay.
But that takes like a day to get. And then if I order 40 books, they're like, that'll be there in 7 weeks. I'm just like, what? So if you order a signed copy, it'll just take a little bit of time, but I promise you, I will get it to you. I'm just a one-woman shop.
Yeah. I do the same thing with like buying my hats and stuff. They're like, what do you use for your hats? I'm like, my friend makes them and then I mail them to you. So if you've ever ordered a hat from me, you know my address because I have to write it on the envelope.
You do that? I do the return address as their address.
And then you don't put postage, so they just automatically send it to them.
No, they don't look at the return address.
That used to be a trick you used to do. You would put a letter. You'd write their address as the return address, and then you put a letter in without a stamp, and then they would just send it to the return address and saying like, oh, you guys f***ed up. You forgot to put postage. It goes back, and then it would just go to them.
Oh, no,
No stamp trick.
that doesn't happen anymore. Now it just goes to them. They don't like, because I looked it up and it was like, we don't look at.
It's semantic at this point. But what it really comes down to is, y'all buy this book. It's great. And I would not, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have promoted it if this book wasn't good. I'd be like, tell me more about Crawl Space. Like I wouldn't be spending too much time trying to push a book that I didn't believe in, that I didn't think was good and didn't make me laugh out loud. So in that regard, I'm proud of you. So great job, Kym, for writing this great book. And if you want to follow Kym Kral on social media, on Instagram, she is at KYMKRAL. That's Kym Kral. That's her name. It's spelled weird and that's fun. You can also go to Kym's Twitter. Do you still use Twitter?
Yeah.
Okay. Twitter is at Kym Kral as well.
Yep. All of it. Everything is.
You can't find her on Tinder anymore. Sorry, she deleted the app. So if you want to date her, it's too bad.
I'm on TikTok where I'm waxing parts of my body.
That sounds great. Reason. Tell me what that is like.
It's just Kym Kral. It's
Kym Kral. Nobody's taken that from you. Kym Kral, you don't have a boring white guy name like me. Your name is
Some girl did. Some girl on Clubhouse got Kym Kral. She's some girl in another country. Her name is Kym Kralkovich or something like that. And she took Kym Kral on Clubhouse. And I wondered. Yeah, I was like, has she been following me? Because she follows me on Instagram because I looked her up and she follows me on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm like, this has been hoping that I would give up Kym Kral.
I need more. I need to take a name from white girl from Colorado. She is.
But I'm like, that's not your name. Your name is Kym Kralkovich. Use your name. Mine's Kym Kral. Yours is Kym. I almost sent her a whole thing, but then Clubhouse isn't as big as one thought it was going to be. So
you want to know something crazy? My ex-wife, her name on Twitter, like her handle, is her first name.
Sarah.
She signed on to Twitter so early that she got her. I'm not going to tell you her first name because I don't want people to like find my ex-wife's Twitter. Leave her alone. But like
later, will you tell me?
Yeah, of course. Okay. It's for the patrons. I'll reveal it on the Patreon. But she got her. Could you imagine if you got at Kym? You would you'd have 1 million followers already just because it's like a name. It seems important.
That is true. If you got on Twitter early, those people have a lot of followers.
Jeff? If I got at Jeff, are you kidding me?
See, I like at Kym Kral though. I mean, like having mine's
at Hey There Jeffro, and that's some dog right there.
Yeah, it's hard to find you sometimes.
Yeah, it's all the same though. It's the same everywhere.
It's all the same.
But that being said, Kym, thank you so much. If you are a patron, stick around because after we do this, Kym and I are going to be having some super secret Patreon exclusive discussions. If you are not a member of the Patreon, thank you so much for listening anyway. I appreciate your ears. You're the best. Feel free to review me on whatever system you're using this on. You can't really review me on Patreon. Just give me more money. If you are a member of the Patreon, that's patreon.com/JeffMay. Please, please, please keep giving me your money. I need it. I'm desperate. No. Check out Kym's podcast, Crawl Space. Kym, you have anything else to promote other than the book and the pod?
I'm going to be on a industry showcase in a couple of weeks at Flappers. I know everyone makes fun of that place, but I kind of love it there. But Flappers Yoo-Hoo Room, the 25th of
September.
Yeah, I was like, whatever month this is. So yeah, check out my website, kymkral.com, and I have dates on there too. But I'm gonna do a clean set, so I need all the support I can get to get there.
So definitely check those out. Crawl Space, check Kym out the 25th at Flappers if you are Burbank adjacent, and of course check out Confessions of a Recovering Party Girl. Buy this book, read it. It is an absolute damn delight. Kym, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
If you like me, follow me at Hey There Jeffro across the social media. Check out Tom and Jeff Watch Batman on Gamefully Unemployed. And also, You Don't Even Like Sports, a sports podcast for people who don't like sports, as well as the Unpopular Opinion podcast, both on the Unpops Network. Thank you all for joining me. I will see you all in 2 weeks with another fantastic episode. Shout out to each and every one of you, and support women's reproductive rights.
Yes.
Thank you. And if you don't like me saying that, you never listen to my show again. Okay, bye. Hey everyone, our artwork is created by Justin T. Brown, who can be found at Artness by Justin Brown on Instagram, as well as artnessbyjustinbrown.com. That dope music you heard is by Troy Nababon, available at Troy Nababon on Instagram, as well as at troynababon.com. Nababon is spelled